Hey guys, it's Jason, Smoking Eagles Rod Shop, coming to you again from my home shop here in Napanee, Indiana. We got the ELCO here. I think we're gonna be working on it today. I've been waiting for some parts. They finally showed up. It's been a minute, been recovering. This thing's been a lot slower than I thought it was gonna be, but let's get back to it. I think we're going to be doing the front accessories on the LS engine today. So yeah, let's get to it. Let me explain to you what I got going on, what I hope to accomplish, and yeah, let's get to it. First, I think I got to clean this shop though, man. This place is absolutely just crazy. So probably do that first, but yeah, let's go show you what we got up front. Hey guys, so let me get you up to speed on what I've been working on off camera for a little bit. I did mock up this stuff up here on the top, so I put a big 2-inch spacer up there, and then that's a fast throttle body with the fuel injection and all the sensors you need to make it run. And then there's our big air cleaner and our throttle cable. That's just there because, well, you know, it looks cool, and just to keep me excited and motivated for continuing on. Now, as far as the front accessory drives, I went with the Edelbrock Victor Jr. Water pump. This water pump spins clockwise, unlike a stock LS one, which goes counterclockwise. So I have to get different belts and pulleys for it. I went with this ATI dampener down here. So my best path forward was a Jones 1/8 inch mandrel down here. And then I went with a Jones power steering pump that locates down over here, you know, kind of like a small block would. But because I have an iron block, I had to get an ICT adapter so that would fit, and I'm gonna have to drill and tap this hole right here. I did go to 6AN and 6AN matching, so I've had to figure out a lot of things to keep power steering on this car, and that's what I'd like to work on today. I also got a steering shaft for this thing so that it's doesn't have that rubber coupler in there, and so it's a little thinner, and maybe doesn't get burned up by the headers. So what I'd like to accomplish in this video is getting these pulleys lined up and getting that hole drilled in there. And if I can do that, that'll be my first belt in the system, and then from there I can go from my water pump to my alternator. Off the front of that, I have different pulleys for those, and hopefully I can pull that alternator forward, and that'll give me clearance for a steam port that I have, and it'll also give me some clearance on this side with the header being right here and the alternator plastic being right there. Man, if I can move that forward an inch and a half, 2 inches, that'd probably be beneficial to not melting it. So that's kind of the plan. When you start thinking higher RPM, you have to start underdriving things. So the crank to the water pump is like a 10% underdriven, and then the power steering pump gets underdriven almost 20%. So that stuff kind of slows down so that you can then scream the engine at like 7,000 RPMs and not have to worry about belts and whatnot flying off and not working. Kind of the problem we had with the small block was when I was in that Burnout pit down at Indy, I had it screaming at $6,000 and it just flung the belts off. If I'd have been closer to 5, they probably would have stayed on. But, you know, you live, you learn. But yeah, this is all super fancy, super trick. If I'd have went with a stock water pump, and a stock location for the alternator, and the stock location for the power steering pump, that would have been way smarter. Hindsight's 2020. I could have done this a lot easier. I could have done this a lot cheaper. I could have done this a lot simpler. But hey, we're here now, so let's just keep moving. I was kind of hoping to keep it like a small block Chev, with my top radiator hose coming over to here, and my bottom radiator hose just going from there to there, essentially, and my alternator here, and my power steering down over there. I was just kind of trying to keep it, you know, more similar to a small block Chevy than a newer modern LS, where those things get shifted all over the place, and your water pump runs backwards and your fan runs backwards, and you know, all this other stuff that you start running into problems with by going LS. So I know now why people just convert the car to match the LS rather than to convert the motor to match the car, I guess to say. I definitely went the hard way about it, but you know, we're here. Let's continue on. So that's the plan of attack for today, and that's what we're up to. So first things first, I'm probably just going to yank this radiator out just to make more room. It's only a couple self-tappers holding it in anyway, so shouldn't be that big of a deal. And then we get to pull this off and drill and tap the block. I'll show you what that's about when I get to it. I'll show you more about that when I get to it, okay? So time lapse. So this is an LS aluminum block that I have sitting around, and you see a tapped hole here, a tapped hole here, and a tapped hole here. Now this is an LS 60 aluminum block. Now, when we go over here to our cast iron block, what you have is you have a hole here, you don't have a hole here, and you have a spot for a hole, but you don't have a hole that's threaded. So ICT makes this little bracket, and what it's going to do is it's going to allow you to go through that hole and into the block. It gives you a threaded hole here, and then you drill and tap this hole, and then you can make an iron block have the same mounting points that the aluminum block has. And those three mounting points are what are used by my power steering pump. So I have to come up with those 3 holes. So that was one of the pieces to this puzzle that I had to figure out. And yeah, your bracketry changes on a cast iron block to an aluminum block. So they send you a handy dandy little template that you can put on there and mark where that hole's going to need to go, and then you can just get a tap and a drill and a tap, and you can drill and tap that hole where it needs to be. Yeah, so yeah, let's get to drilling and tapping a hole in our block. I'm a little nervous. Well guys, I went and found the little template that ICT gave, but my heads have been decked and my block has been decked, and it didn't line up nearly as good as I thought it was going to. So I'm just going to use the bracket itself. I'm going to trace that hole, I'm going to center drill, and then I'm going to drill and tap. Guys, this is cast iron, so it's actually easier to drill and tap than steel, but still you need to get a really sharp drill bit and a really sharp tap. This is no time to be running a tap that you've chased 100 holes and knocked a bunch of crud out. And when you're looking for a drill bit to center drill, you're literally looking for a drill bit that's about the size of whatever the center of that drill is. So like down here in the center of it, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for one about that same size. So that's what you're trying to do. So let me get you up on time lapse again, and we'll drill that hole and tap it, and hopefully it comes out right. Hey guys, so what I got to do next is I got to get this shimmed, which is pretty simple because this just comes off. And I bought some thinner shims for down here to space this pulley in and out to line it up with this one. And once I get these two lined up, then I have a whole spacer kit up here of different size spacers so that I can get the spacing behind my power steering pump lined up. So that's what I'm gonna work on now. I only had 1/4 inch spacers down here, were the finest ones I had, and it looked like it was just a pinch off, so I put a spacer behind it, and then it looked like it was a bunch too far. So I'm just going to try to get this spacing a little closer. Yeah, see, that looks a lot better. So that's 1/8 of an inch instead of 1/4 of an inch. So this is a pretty cool little setup. There's keyways in there. I'll put that stuff in when I'm ready to be completely finished with it. I think those are still about 1/8 of an inch too long. They're 1/2 inch. So I just drop down to my next size, which is 3/8. So let's try these guys. I think we're gonna be really close here. Yeah. I don't know, guys. I'd say that's pretty lined up. Looks pretty darn good to me. Now I know which spacers to use. So that's why I got a big kit. These are just about every 1/8 of an inch, and then I bought every 1/16 of an inch to go with it as well. I don't have a lot of tools here at my house. I don't have a lathe. I don't have a lot of just stuff sitting around. So a kit like that with 140 pieces for like 75 bucks is a really good deal. It lets you adjust that in really quickly. I thought that was going to take days to get aligned, and you know, it happened in just a few minutes. So I'm really happy with that progress. I think that's where we're going to end the video for tonight. Well, guys, I think that's going to do it for the first night of working on the ELCO. That's how you get the power steering lined up with the crank with the water pump. These Jones pulleys, this Jones racing pulleys, they're really nice. ICT makes a lot of problem solvers for you for LS engines. Yeah, I did it the hard way, the expensive way, but I think in the end it's going to be, you know, I think it's going to be a little better. I think it's going to be worth it. I'm really stoked on that progress. That's a pretty good point for tonight. I'm gonna get back on this probably tomorrow morning. So we're gonna start hitting videos again, guys. We're gonna start rolling them out. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy the content shift to the ELCO, and yeah, thanks for watching. You guys were a big part of the motivation for me to get back out here and get going again. So let's get back to it. Let's get this ELCO in a burnout pit. Till then, guys, see ya.